Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
And a hello to you, and to all of you fathers and father figures out there. I want to wish you a very happy Father's Day. Hey, we have some active weather working its way across our region and across the nation as we start the new work week here. Monday, a risk of severe weather in the northern plains. There is going to be a chance for very heavy snow for neighbors off to the west in the mountains of the northern Rockies, where some spots could see well over 6 inches of snowfall as we go through. And again, we do have that risk of severe weather that will continue into Tuesday. Now, for some, we're going to see a risk of some very heavy rainfall that could exceed 3 or 4 inches of rain as we go over the next 24 to 36 hours. We're going to go over all of that, but first, I want to take a moment to say it sure is a pleasure to be a dad. My kids out there make me proud every day, and you know what? It's just an honor, and I'm humbled to be a dad. So thanks, kids, for the opportunity. And you know what? I've been a pretty lucky parent, as that were. And again, a big happy Father's Day out to my dad as well. So if you don't know me, my name's meteorologist Hutch Johnson. We're going to talk a little bit on this Father's Day about our risk for severe weather as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours, both locally and a quick look at the nation as well. And if you have a question, as always is the case, please drop a line. Let me know that you're watching. Where are you watching from? Hey, remember to hit the like button on any of these videos, no matter where you're watching, if you've enjoyed the information there. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing today. If you're watching on Facebook, give me the old follow button. That sure helps Hutch out. Now let's take a look at what we have going on with regards to our risk for severe weather in the northern plains heading into our work week on Monday. So we do have a slight risk from Grand Forks, Fargo, St. Cloud, not quite into the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, all of the eastern Dakotas, as a matter of fact, as we go through the start of our work week. Now, we'll have and go over the timing of the storm risk here in the northern plains, as well as a look elsewhere across the nation. And I do want to tell you that we do have other types of weather that is expected to take place as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours in the form of some awful flaky stuff out there. Hi, Rita. Good to have you on board as well. And again, I remind you, drop me a note. Let me know if you're watching, where you're watching from. Helps me to know if you're watching from the old cellular device. That helps me out as well. Let me know where you're watching from and if you have specific questions. Check this out, though, as we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks for severe weather as we go into Monday. I'll turn off all of these radar sites here. You can see basically this narrow, skinny green area in the high plains of Colorado, western Nebraska, Kansas, all the way down toward the Rio Grande Valley of Texas and into Minneapolis and the Twin Cities. The green area has a marginal risk of some severe storms and a slight risk in the yellow areas from Sioux Falls and throughout most of central Nebraska right into northern and central Minnesota. And that's where the risk will be the greatest. Now, all modes of severe weather are possible, particularly in the south. We could see a few tornadoes as well. As we go through the afternoon, though, those storms and showers are going to bring locally heavy rains, and there are already flash flood watches and flood watches for much of Minnesota, as this area is going to be inundated with a lot of rainfall as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. And for that, I'll turn on the local National Weather Service watches and warnings, and you should be able to see that almost many of the places in central Minnesota, from Minneapolis and places north, have already been inundated with a lot of rain, and the active warnings do include flood watches for these areas for locally heavy rain. And this is through Tuesday. Look what's going on in the mountains of Montana. The blue areas, believe it or not, that is winter weather advisories in effect out there as we go into the Monday timeframe. Look at Missoula out there in the big old Rocky Mountains and the western Rockies of Montana. That is a winter storm warning. And the latest from the National Weather Service there is from 11 p.m. tonight, Mountain Time, or Pacific Time, I should say, till 5 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. So overnight tonight, very difficult backcountry travel. If you're traveling through the Rockies, check this nonsense out. 6 to 15 inches of foot stomping, ski strapping, tire slipping snow is going to fall in the Rockies of the western parts of Montana into Idaho as well. So a lot of weather to talk about. What's the purple you say out here to the west? That's freeze warnings in the elevated terrain of places like Oregon, northern mountains of California, and more freeze warnings in effect in northern Nevada. Elko, look out. those petunias are going to have a tough time, so you want to protect those. Now, more on the forecast here. Let's go ahead and turn off some of the content here on the model guidance, and I'll turn off the local current warnings. And what I do want to focus on is the hour-by-hour forecast for you, so you can get a feel for what we have making its way through the watch area. Some of us are going to start out the morning with showers and thunderstorms, and the rain will pass at times throughout the day. So here we go. We'll turn off the Storm Prediction Center's map of where things are going to be happening, and we'll talk a little bit more about the risks as well. But now let's take a look at the model guidance here. And for that, we're going to take a look at an hourly updated model that goes out all the way into the day for tomorrow. So here it is. It's just coming in with the very latest information, but I do want to pull one up that's going to go out into the time frame of tomorrow, and we're going to include more of the area so you can see where these showers and storms come from and how they evolve overnight. So going from your Father's Day, the rest of the evening for most of us, pretty good. There have been some heaters, some strong storms in the Arrowhead of Minnesota. Estevan points north out towards the areas of Medicine Hat in southern parts of Canada. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and all the way out into Alberta are seeing some showers and rumbles of thunder. Now, as we head into the evening hours, look at the chances of stormy weather out near Chicago. We'll step through. Showers and thunderstorms develop tonight, southern South Dakota, western parts of Nebraska, and these will slowly spread into southern Minnesota, the area of concern for the flooding. This is by 5 o'clock in the morning Central Time, and the rain just continues through the morning hours in Minnesota. And the eastern part of the Dakotas will have a fair chance at seeing these morning showers. You're looking at 7 in the morning Central Time. Then they vacate the region as the low pressure system in the mid-levels of the atmosphere releases some energy up in the northern plains. We're going to see south winds kind of bring the moisture levels up, and well, there'll be a little bit of a chance for some heating along a boundary here as this warm front pushes its way forward. Now, where we get some daytime heating, that will destabilize the atmosphere. So the areas that have the non-rain, that's where the real strong storms are expected to form as we go through the day. Heading into the afternoon hours and particularly the evening hours. So late afternoon into the evening is the best chance for some locally heavy rain and severe storms as we go into the nighttime hours. This risk along this warm front will continue into and through possibly the wee hours of the morning. You're looking at 3 in the morning here. So if you happen to be out walking the llama or the cat on a leash, just be careful. Cats don't like to get wet, or at least mine doesn't. So you got to make sure that you're thinking here. And as you're going through the wee hours of the morning, these will push up toward the international border. Remember, that is a warm front moving through. Now, as we go into the day on Tuesday, it looks like this system's all but washed up, but that will not be the case. The atmosphere destabilizes with the heat of the day, and here we go. Showers and thunderstorms forming from the Red River Valley of North Dakota, eastern South Dakota, central Nebraska. We'll have another chance of severe weather, mainly in the Minnesota counties again, and the tornado risk will go up the way it looks to me on the models for the state of Minnesota all the way down into parts of central Nebraska. Karen says, walking the llama. You know, if you have a llama or alpaca, there's you know what? They kind of have a spitting resemblance of each other. Okay, that's a bad dad joke on Father's Day. Sorry about that. Stacy, good to have you on. Let me know where you're watching from. We're broadcasting on all channels here, so I'm going to check with my viewers that are watching also on the old Facebook page, as well as our viewers right here on YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube. And again, thanks so very much for watching. Deborah, good to have you on. Thank you for the Father's Day wishes. It is truly an honor. And you're watching from Aurora, Illinois. Wow, that's fantastic. It's wonderful to have you on. Thank you so very much. And I got to tell you what, we do have some Illinois weather working its way through tonight. So now let's take a look once again at the Storm Prediction Center's forecast. And what I want to do is pull up the highlights of Monday. So let's not confuse what we're looking at here. Monday's severe weather risk as we go through the day. And we're particularly going to look at just the general risk categories we already showed you. The yellow areas here, all the way from northern Minnesota into central Nebraska, that's a slight risk. It's a level 2 on a 5-level scale. So it's not particularly high. Thanks, James, from North Dakota, Devil's Lake. Beautiful country. That's right here on the map if you're not familiar. Wonderful, wonderful fishing out there and some good summertime weather. So mosey your way up to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Now, I got to tell you, level 2 on the scale, does that mean slight? Slight sometimes doesn't really promote action, right? Oh, there's just a slight risk of severe weather. Well, that's true. Not everybody in this area is going to get severe weather. But what it does mean is there'll be a risk. The ingredients are there for strong thunderstorms. The slight risk means that the storms ability to produce hail will be somewhere around 1 to 2 inches in diameter. There'll be numerous strong to severe storms potentially if the atmosphere lets loose. And, well, we also have the chance for some damaging straight line winds, and we also have the risk for a few tornadoes. Let's take a look at each of those risks as we go through the Monday time frame here from the Storm Prediction Center, just to catch you up with the very latest on this. And what I want to point out with regards to our risks here is that, well, let's take a look at the hail first. Where is the risk of hail greatest? Oh, central South Dakota, from Bismarck, Jamestown, Fargo, Grand Forks, Brainerd Lakes area that was hit very hard with some nasty tornadoes in and around that area north of the Brainerd area out there. So we had some nasty tornadoes, and there's going to be a chance for some sizable hail in this area. What's the yellow mean? That means there's a 15% chance that within about 30 miles of any location, you're going to see some sizable hail potential out there. The risk is a little lower in the brown areas, as one might expect. 5% is what it's calculated there. Again, not everyone in these areas are going to be impacted by large hail. Thunderstorms are small. See this little pimple right here? That thing will not dump hail under the whole part of the storm, just a narrow little band of it possibly. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's look at that wind threat. Here we go. The greatest potential for very gusty straight line winds that could cause damage will be in the yellow area here. And again, that risk area is going to be right on the order of around 15%. Sioux Falls, Brookings, all the way up into the Watertown area of South Dakota. If you're in southwest Minnesota, be aware you could see some pretty stout winds in places like Redwood Falls and Marshall, Minnesota as well. So that's where we're looking at. Sioux City, not out of the woods for the chance of gusty winds. O'Neill and Valentine, Nebraska. Gotta love Valentine as we take a look at the area there. Now, what about the tornado risk on our Monday? Here we go. Now, this area is highlighted, and this risk chance in green is a 2% risk. One might think 2%, that ain't very much, right? That is a low percent chance. And think of this. Thunderstorms usually have a diameter of 10 miles, okay? So in checking with your comments too, if you have questions about any of this stuff that Hutch is talking about here, I'd love to answer them. Good old probability, Simon says. Yep. Okay, so here we go. 2%, what does that mean? There's a 2% risk that within about 30 miles of any point in this area, we could see a tornado. Sometimes you think about that and you go, that's not very high. But look at our average risk. So I'm going to pull up a map here behind me, and we'll put that up here real quick. I think I saved this from the other day. Just an amazing look at the northern plains and the risk of tornadoes and the climatology of tornadoes for about this time of year. Now, what you're going to notice here, let's see, this is the risk of, let's not go with the significant tornadoes, but this is just the risk of any tornado of any magnitude. Here you go. Check this out. So from the Storm Prediction Center in mid-June here, from 1982 to 2011, you see the red areas and the dark red areas? This is the probability of a tornado on any given day from mid-June. You see from northeast Colorado up there, hey, Greeley, hi, Sterling. How about southern Nebraska as you're heading towards through places like North Platte and on into towards Lincoln, Nebraska? These areas, that is a 1.2% chance or so. So that's a 1% chance on any given day of seeing a tornado within a few miles of a point there. Up in the northern plains where we're talking about, the climatology says the risk is about 0.2 to 0.4% up here. We're going to say that goes up to around a 2% as we go back to our model guidance here from the Storm Prediction Center. 2% risk. That's significantly more chance of seeing a tornado. It's not huge. And with the ingredients that we have in place, I do believe our main concern is going to be, as mentioned, the flash flooding, the hail, and the wind that we talked about earlier. There could be some tornado risk. Now, let's take a look at the risk on Tuesday because it reforms as I showed you on the hour-by-hour model. And here's the yellow area. That's the slight risk right now. Now, my gut is talking to me, not because I ate a lot on Father's Day. I mean, I enjoyed myself and everything, but it's talking to me and it's saying, the ingredients are going to be a little more robust on Tuesday, more atmospheric heating, a little more energy, a little bit more turning of the air's direction with height as we go through the atmosphere could lead to a little bit more spin. I believe we could have an increased chance of some more tornadoes across Minnesota. This is on Tuesday in the afternoon and evening hours. There is no outlook from the Storm Prediction Center other than a probabilistic outlook on the slight risk area. And where you see that slight risk area here, in the yellow area, there is a reasonable chance, a 15% probability of seeing some weather within about, 30 miles of any of those points. And again, I do think that there will be more locally heavy rain as we go through the system there. So we talked about the timing and the track of the storms from one model. Every model's a little different. No model is going to get it exact. It's very rare to see a model get thunderstorm forecasts exact. So it's just part of the science. And as a meteorologist, that's my job, is to not overdo the chances here, but make everybody aware of what it is that we're seeing. So now let's take a little look at what's going on with our friends out in Montana with the snowfall amounts. We showed you that. Check out this model's forecast of the event taking place in parts of Idaho, western and southern Montana as we head into West Yellowstone. See all that blue there? That's some pretty healthy snow. Now, when we take a look at the model's amount of snowfall on this, let's go ahead and switch this over. And again, sometimes models overdo the snowfall amount here. Let me make sure I'm on the last frame. This gets us into the time frame of late. South of Bozeman, not far from you folks in Missoula, Hamilton, as we look out in these areas, what do these colors mean? This model says a lot of areas picking up 4 to 6 inches of snow. This is in the elevation, of course, west of Helena and the state capital of Montana, but there'll be pockets that see 13 to 18, maybe 20 inches of snow at those elevated peaks with this wet hybrid system that's making its way through. So all in all, it's going to be an active day of weather in the northern plains on Monday and again on Tuesday, and you're looking at that risk. So let's summarize your forecast here for my viewers in and around the northern plains. Let's go ahead and take a look at that for you right now. First thing we're going to focus on, again, the slight risk for Monday. This is how you start your week. This could change a little bit tomorrow. Hutch will keep you up to date with the latest on that. Just stay weather aware. And if a storm forms and one's near you, make sure that you get the information on whether it's severe or not. And then if it's severe, I'll let you know about it. How about the rainfall amounts? Here's what you need to know. Now, the storms as we go through the day, the morning hours on our Monday, we're going to have this batch of rain pushing north. So your Monday chance of rain is going to be the best in places like Bismarck, Devil's Lake, making its way up to War Road. Those bands of rain could have some locally heavy rain under thunderstorms, but by and large, we're going to have pockets that get missed, as we always do. So when you look at a map like this, I try to tell folks, don't focus so much on these precise numbers here. Our science, meteorology, is not very good at forecasting how much rain is going to fall in your hometown or in your backyard. It just can't be done. We've all seen it in days and times when you're in Minneapolis and the north side of the Twin Cities gets 4 inches of rain and the south side gets butkus, right? Nothing. So that can happen over a small area with thunderstorms. So I'm not going to over advertise what our forecast models can do. But what this does tell us is that anywhere down here in southern Minnesota, you're going to get Monday morning showers, then you're going to get Monday afternoon and nighttime strong to severe storm potential, and again on Tuesday. So this is by the time we get into that day on Tuesday, there'll be that risk for some pretty heavy rain in southern Minnesota. Many areas can count on 1/2 inch of rain. Some areas will see over 3 inches, and a couple models had some hot pockets, okay, if I can say that, hot pockets of wet weather, 7 inches of rain. The amount of water in the atmosphere the next couple of days, there could be some spots that get hit with numerous thunderstorms over the 2-day period. And we could see some areas get over 3 to 4 inches of rain. Easy. So keep that in mind. This includes the Twin Cities down towards Rochester, Wilmer, and areas south of, say, Morris and Benson, Minnesota, as we showed you. Now in Lakes Country here in parts of west central Minnesota, we'll have pockets that certainly get more than 2/10 of an inch, but you can count on 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch in many places that get hit. But if you get hit with the gully washers or the multiple gully washers Monday morning, Monday afternoon, and again on Tuesday, remember, Tuesday's strong to severe storms will be most prominent in Minnesota. So we're not going to have much of a rain chance as we look into places like Jamestown, North Dakota, Valley City, North Dakota on Tuesday. So that is a look at what's going on with that rainfall potential through Tuesday. Very wet, and there is a flood watch across much of Minnesota. in the northern plains. Temperatures on your Monday morning, check this out. If you are in Nebraska, well, it's going to be in the 50s and 60s. 60-degree weather in Watertown, near that in Fargo-Moorhead. We're going to see Grand Forks, East Grand Forks at 54 to start your day. Bismarck, the capital of North Dakota, 53. Capital of South Dakota, closer to 55 degrees. We'll see Brainerd Lakes area, Bemidji area, all in the low to mid 50s. And we'll have those passing bands of showers. They're going to be most prominent, as you saw in the model forecast, in the south. Throughout the day, they will gradually push north. So in the morning, I don't think the Devil's Lake Basin and the international border counties will see much rain. That chance will increase later in your day. Fargo, 57 degrees. Morning rain and thunder, mainly south. A tenth to an inch of rain in and around the Fargo-Moorhead area, depending on whether those frog stranglers move over your neck of the woods. That is a thunderstorm with heavy rain. I'm sorry about that. Now let's take a look at what we have going on here on Monday afternoon. Rain showers from the morning push north toward the international border. Developing thunderstorms that have a chance to be severe are going to be most likely in parts of central South Dakota and central North Dakota and work their way to the north and east. This looks to be a later event to me. It looks to be somewhere around 4 p.m. or so. So let's call it mid to late afternoon for the start. And then it lasts into the overnight hours as these storms continue to push their way through. That's the timing of the energy in the atmosphere making its way northward. So again, some late night storms. Fargo hits 76 degrees. Chance of severe storms right here in Fargo and Grand Forks, especially after 4 p.m. Flooding, that main concern for many in our area. Wind, hail, the main threats from the severe weather as we go through Monday. That chance will include a little better chance, I believe, of some tornadic activity, particularly east and south of Fargo as we go through Tuesday. Planning forecast, Fargo-Moorhead and the surrounding area. Severe chance on Monday. Again on Tuesday out to the east in Minnesota, and temperatures in those mid to upper 70s all the way through your Juneteenth, when we'll have sunshine aplenty and a little quiet down in the area. That doesn't last too long. After most of the day on Thursday looks quiet, a thunder chance returns to the region, and there will be more thunderstorms likely as we go into Friday, and particularly out towards Minneapolis on Saturday. A chance for a few storms. Sunday looks quiet for the region. 85 is pretty good for this old dad right here on Father's Day. I won't be mowing my lawn this week, I guess, Simon says. Good to hear from you, Simon, and I hope you have some luck with that. Shared and tagged Bonnie, thank you so much. It's been a dicey, to say the least. Going to keep my eyes on a local forecast. Yes, I will be out with that local forecast numerous times, and when storms come meandering through, I'll have the latest updates right here. Sandy reminded me of June 17th, 2010, had F4 tornadoes go through the town of Wadena. I was working that day and absolutely remember that day very, very well. My folks lived in Staples, just up the road from you there, Sandy, and I got to tell you, very, very dire and scary situation. Some loss of life here in the Dakotas and parts of western Minnesota, actually. And on that day, I do believe there were over 80 tornadoes, 80 tornadoes in the northern plains. And it was a tragic day in places like Mentor and southeast Ottertail County, as I recall. By the way, those two locations in Polk County, Minnesota, as well as Ottertail County, those are number 1 and number 2 for the probability of tornadoes. Those counties have seen more tornadoes than any other counties in the entire state of Minnesota. It's a big state. So, a little bit of information. Thanks for sharing that that memory. Hutch's casual weather. You know what? I know you missed a suit and tie, and today is Father's Day. I just wanted to get you a little update on what's going on for tomorrow. So it's back to enjoying some time with the family for this kid. I will be here tomorrow to keep you up to date with the very latest, but I do want to take a minute and share with you a couple of photos that some friends have shared with me. Check out this business right here. This was Bismarck. We had very active weather. Storms over America. Nice capture here. Thank you so very much, Mark, for sharing your photos. Beautiful clouds, but they were menacing out to the west. And then those were overnighters here in the eastern part of the state, dumping some rain. Not a lot of reports of severe weather out to the west, but modest clouds. Those are the lumpy, bumpy ones. Check this out as we get the name tag out of the way here. Look at those bumpy clouds off in the distance there from the Bismarck-Mandan area. And again, another shot from Mark, I think it's loading up more of the Mamatis over the Mandan area. So, got to tell you, some stormy weather this past weekend across the region. Looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit more in the way of that as we head into the start of our work week. Thank you so very much. Happy Father's Day to all of you dads out there. And I'll be keeping my eyes on the skies. Thanks again for your likes, your follows, your subscriptions on YouTube, and have a wonderful rest of your Father's Day weekend. We will check back again very soon and stay informed over the next couple of days.